April 14th, 1912.
11:40 p.m. A lookout spots something in the dark water ahead.
He has 37 seconds to react. In our timeline, it wasn't enough. But what if it was?
What if the Titanic never sank?
The Titanic was called unsinkable, the largest, most luxurious ship ever built, carrying over 2,200 passengers on her maiden voyage from Southampton to New York.
She had 16 watertight compartments, designed so that even if several flooded, the ship would stay afloat.
It should have been enough. Here's the detail most people don't know. The collision almost didn't happen at all. If the lookout had spotted the iceberg just 30 seconds earlier, the crew would have had enough time to turn the ship completely and avoid it. Some historians argue that if the ship had hit the iceberg head-on instead of scraping along its side, the front compartments would have flooded, but the ship likely would have stayed afloat. It was the glancing blow, tearing a 30-foot gash along multiple compartments, that doomed her.
A direct hit, ironically, might have saved her. The ship survives April 1912 in this timeline. The lookout spots the iceberg in time.
The Titanic turns hard, scrapes past with minor damage, and continues to New York under her own power. She arrives 4 days later to a hero's welcome instead of a memorial service. White Star Line's reputation 19121915 without the disaster.
White Star Line doesn't face the massive losses and reputational collapse it did in reality. The company continues building Olympic-class ships at full scale, potentially expanding faster than rival Cunard Line.
The transatlantic shipping industry follows a different competitive path. Maritime safety regulations delayed 19121920. Here's the darker twist. The Titanic disaster directly caused sweeping maritime safety reforms, mandatory lifeboats for every passenger,
24-hour radio watch, international ice patrols.
Without the tragedy, these reforms may not happen for years, maybe decades. Some historians argue this means an even worse disaster could have struck a different, less prepared ship down the line. Famous passengers live different lives. 191219 for OS.
Titanic carried some of the wealthiest and most influential people of the era: industrialists, business magnates, society figures.
In our timeline, many died, reshaping business empires and inheritances overnight.
In this timeline, they live. Companies they controlled continue under their leadership instead of passing to successors.
Business history, especially in American industry, shifts in small but meaningful ways across the decades. Cultural memory never forms 1912 today, and here's the biggest shift of all: Titanic never becomes the cultural symbol it is today.
No haunting warning about hubris and unsinkable pride.
No century of books, documentaries, and films. No global fascination with the wreck at the bottom of the Atlantic. One of history's most powerful cautionary tales simply never exists today in our real timeline. The wreck of the Titanic sits 2.5 miles underwater,
slowly being consumed by rust-eaten bacteria. Scientists estimate it could disappear entirely within decades. But in the timeline where she survived that night, she simply would have been another aging ocean liner, eventually retired and scrapped like dozens of others, remembered only in shipping records.
Sometimes it's not survival that creates a legacy, it's the tragedy. 37 seconds. That's all that stood between the ship that changed maritime history forever, and a ship that would have been forgotten. So here's a question: do you think it's the disasters that shape history more than the successes? Let me know below. And if you want another story of the moment that almost wasn't, I've got one about the assassination that almost didn't happen and started a world war anyway.
Come find out what if the assassin missed.